Hi everyone, and welcome to my attempt at a Pokemon Pearl Hardcore Nuzlocke using Psychic types only. Psychic types are great, although usually a bit frail. Kadabra and Alakazam are the perfect example of this. They hit hard, but they can take many hits themselves. Nevertheless, I always really enjoy using a Psychic types, so why not do a run where we can only use them? When looking at the challenges we will face, it seems like this run is going to be somewhat difficult. Roark is a huge wall, which we'll see in a bit. Gardenia can be pretty tough if done incorrectly. Crasher Wake's Gyarados can do huge damage. Fantina and her ghost types are of course scary to psychic types. And let's not forget Cynthia and her overpowered Garchomp. Cynthia also got Spiritomb, which is probably the best Pokemon to take on a psychic only team. Before we continue the video, I would highly appreciate it if you left a like and maybe even subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Anyway, here's a list of all the available psychic type Pokemon in the Sinnoh Dex. We got Alakazam, Chimecho, Medicham, Bronzong, Mr. Mime, Starmie, Gardevoir, Gallade, Espeon, Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf. But most of these are only available in Platinum. Starmie is also a post-game only encounter and we don't use legendaries. Also, I accidentally played this run on Pearl and not on Diamond, and Mr. Mime is a Diamond exclusive Pokemon, so he's also off the board. This leaves us with Kadabra, Chimecho, Medicham, Bronzong and Giraffe. So I started this run with the intention of doing it in Pokemon Platinum, but after realizing that my only Pokemon for the first gym would be an Abra with Teleport, I decided to switch to Pokemon Pearl. In Diamond and Pearl you can learn your Pokemon hidden power, and with the right hidden power I'm sure we can beat Roark. But the guy that gives you hidden power is removed in Platinum, making it next to impossible to complete. So with that in mind, I restarted this challenge in Pokemon Pearl, and while it initially seemed simple, I had to do many restarts to finally get the right hidden power move. I actually forgot to record all the runs, so here's the first few minutes of my first run, followed by the one that we're going to continue with. The reason for this is that I had to do quite a lot of restarts. The combination of catching Abra on the first try and not getting the right hidden power move caused some frustration. If I'm not screen recording, my magical and real Nintendo DS is much faster, which made it easier going through the slow Sinnoh start. But now that we finally got it, it's time to move on. We go through all the early game stuff and arrive in Oreburgh City. Here I found out that my hidden power is water, so that's 4 times effective. Perfect. Still, the Cranidos will be a problem. By the way, my Abra is named Princeton. Roark opens with a Geodude and we of course lead with Princeton. We outspeed and an HP Water one-shot the Geodude. In comes Cranidos and all we can do is go for another HP Water. It does about 75% damage and the Cranidos uses Headbutt, leaving us at literally 1 HP. Cranidos is then healed, but since we outspeed it, we can two-shot it with HP Water. But it isn't over yet. Lastly is Onyx, and I'm hoping to outspeed, otherwise this run is over. Luckily we do, and we win our first batch. After beating Roark, we made our way to the Eterna Forest. Now this might seem insignificant, but I'm running super close to the level cap, and there are a few unavoidable double battles in the forest. Before arriving in the forest, we dodge almost every single trainer, and in the forest, I dodge as many as I can. Luckily, we make it through, just as we reach level 22, our new level cap. But we still have to fight some gym trainers too. But as we arrive in Eterna City, we can go to the route east of it, where we can catch a Monotype. I catch him and name him Harvard. Harvard has the ability Pure Power, which boosts the power of physical attacks. Perfect for my fighting type. A little more east we can enter Mount Coronet. This is a huge place, but on this side of the mountain we can actually catch a Chingling. I catch him and name him Columbia. Harvard will be a great addition, but Columbia isn't that great. Oh well, we can always use him as an XP dump, or what I prefer, evolve it as quickly as possible. At the time of catching it was nighttime, so if I max out friendship right away, we can get an early Chimecho. Now to get Columbia to evolve we need 255 friendship points. It takes 128 steps to get 1 point of happiness, but it's only a 50% chance. This means that we need 65,280 steps. That is a lot. After about 20,000 steps I was kind of done with running around, so I just went ahead and challenged the gym leader. Princeton is a beast and he basically swept the whole gym alone. From here we go into some big building taken over by Team Galactic. The Skuntank was kind of difficult to defeat, but he went down after some time. This now grants us access to the bike, which in turn gives us an easier way to level up our friendship on Columbia, as well as a new encounter. We find Bronzor and we name him Yale. At this point I was really wondering what encounters I could still get. Turns out it would have been much better if I played Pokemon Diamond. Diamond gets an extra Psychic type, Mr. Mime, while Pearl only gets a Sudowoodo. Yeah, that really sucks, but I'm not really looking to reset after that Albert catch and hidden power debacle, so I power on. Turns out we actually nearly already have the entire team. There was also a reason why I initially wanted to do this in Platinum, as you can get so many more encounters. I know I'm missing out on a Rolls and a Jinx, as well as a Mr. Mime and an Espeon. This run just became a lot more difficult. And out of curiosity, I wanted to check the other two members as well. I was under the impression that we were able to get an Espeon and Starmie. But after looking it up, I found out that the Super World is only available in the postgame, and so is the free Eevee. So we only have one more encounter left. Okay, lesson for next time, make sure to play the right version and look up the complete teams beforehand. Making our way to Hardhome City, I was stuck for a little while. I haven't played this game in a long time, but it turns out I needed to go to the contest hall. After that, I made my way to Salation Town and then Vilston City. Here's the next gym leader, level capped at level 30. Only problem, the next gym leader is also capped at level 30, so I have to go in underleveled at one of them. Luckily, we can already access both gyms, and the Vilston gym is a Psychic type gym. So of course we're going in here underleveled. But before taking on the gym, I head to Route 214, where I can catch my last encounter, a Girafarig. I catch him and name him Stanford. Now, time for the gym. I trained everyone up to level 28, and lead with Princeton. Princeton kills the Monotype with a few Psybeams, and in comes Machoke, who also goes down to one Psybeam. Lastly is Lucario, who is quite scary. I go for a Psybeam, doing just under half, but Lucario's Drain Punch does massive damage. Due to my berry, I could get in another hit, but he heals almost back to full with his next Drain Punch. I needed to switch, so I go into Columbia. He gets off a Confusion, but will die next turn as well. So I swap again, this time into Yale. Luckily, we switch in on a Metal Claw, and we manage to put Lucario to sleep. I switch into Princeton, hoping he wouldn't wake up, and fire off some Psybeams. Maylene heals in between, but Lucario stays asleep long enough for us to take it out. It was a lot more difficult than I would have liked. After beating Maylene, Dawn asks us for help against Team Galactic. We help her, and Team Galactic was a joke. They got dealt with fast, so that plot point was resolved. After that, we make our way to Pastoria City, the second gym leader with a level cap of 30. After beating all the gym trainers, I really started to notice that Harvard was falling off. He just wasn't doing that much damage anymore. Even Columbia does more damage, a freaking baby Pokemon. Oh well, we level everyone up to level 30 and take on Crasher Wake. While grinding though, I accidentally overleveled Stanford, so he needs to be boxed. Damn, he would be very helpful in this fight. He's the only fully evolved Pokemon I have, and now we have to take on a Gyarados with 1 second stage Mon, 2 first stage Mons and a baby Pokemon. Okay. We lead with Jill and Wake started with a Gyarados. I lead with Jill just to put the Gyarados to sleep. He swaggered us, but we snap out of Confusion the second turn, hitting Hypnosis and putting the Gyarados to sleep. With that, I swap into Princeton to hit a few Psybeams. This puts the Gyarados in healing range, so I set up a Reflect. Luckily, the Gyarados stays asleep for a long time, allowing us another Psybeam hit. One more takes it down. It was a crit, which I believe actually helped. In comes a Floatzel and I hit another Psybeam. This one actually confuses it, so another Psybeam plus Floatzel hitting himself in Confusion takes care of him. Lastly is Quagsire, who I also Psybeamed, which again confuses it. 2 more Psybeams and the batch is ours. After beating Crasher Wake, I talk to this weird blue-haired dude who just runs away. I follow him, but my rival catches up to me and fights me. We beat him easily though, and we continue our chase. After some time, he tells us he's going to KO us, and then he sends out a level 25 Glameow. Yeah, sure buddy. We two-shot it and move on. Literally 5 steps ahead, we find Cynthia. She gives us a potion for the Psyducks, and we make our way there. After curing the Psyducks, Cynthia shows up again. Like, couldn't you have given those poor ducks the potion yourself if you're already going here? Anyway, time to move on to what is probably the most annoying route in any Pokemon game, the Foggy route. After making it through that annoying route, we arrive in Celestic Town, and since Cynthia used us as her errand boy now, we need to give her grandmother our package. Apparently there was another blue-haired dude and he was talking about setting off a bomb. Okay, children's game. In Celestic Town, I realized I needed to backtrack a lot. The next gym is in Hardhome City, and the HM for strength which you need is in some weirdly located tower. Time to move through the Foggy route again. First on the agenda, the HM for strength. The tower itself was insignificant to say the least. It's probably why I forgot about it in the first place. Yale did evolve here, so that's great. Bronzewing is an awesome addition to the team. Only a few steps later, we find this weird looking Ghastly. It's blue, and I'm pretty sure Ghastlies are supposed to be purple. So I put it out of its misery. Poor guy. As for the next gym, this is going to be a difficult one. Fantina is a ghost type gym leader and we're weak to ghost. Now I do have one saving grace, Stanford. Stanford is a psychic type but also a normal type. This means that we're immune to the step ghost type moves. That's awesome. We also have Yale, who's very bulky, and I thought Yale the payback TM. Stanford also knows Assurance, and these moves will be super effective against ghost types. The plan really is to just sweep with Stanford, but just in case something goes wrong, I have Yale in the back. And in case it really goes wrong, we have Astonish on Columbia, although I suspect that if we resort to that, we probably need to reset. As I mentioned, Stanford resists all the step moves of Fantina. And to make it even better, none of Fantina's Pokémons know a dark move. The Drifloon only knows Gust to hurt us, the Gengar only knows Poison Jab, and the Miss Magus only knows Magical Leaf and Psybeam. I'm pretty hopeful about this battle actually. Fantina opens with Drifloon and I open with Stanford. I went for Assurance, which does just under half, so the second one puts it in healing range. 3 more Assurances and Drifloon goes down. But Stanford is left at 21 HP due to the Gust and Aftermath damage. He did learn Psychic when he leveled up, which is going to be great. With Gengar coming in, I needed to swap, so we're switching over to our backup plan, Yale. The Gengar confuses me, so I swap back to Stanford, knowing a ghost type move is coming. We switch back to Yale again, and an extra sensory one-shots the Gengar. Lastly is Miss Magus, who really can't touch us. We put it to sleep anyway, and a payback one-shots it afterwards. With that, we got our 5th badge. Now that we can use Surf, we can make our way to Canalave City. Here we had to fight a rival, who leads with a Staravia. I bring in Yale and 2 extra sensories to take it out. In comes Ponyta, so I bring in Stanford. Psychic 2-shots to Ponyta, and in comes Heracross. Bad move, as he's one-shotted immediately after. The Prinplup is then taken out by 3 Force Bombs from Harvard, and Roselia goes down to a few extra sensories. After some time, Harvard finally evolves. He was falling off a lot, but now that he's a Medicham, he's going to be amazing. And he immediately has the opportunity to prove himself against Byron. Byron opens with a Bronzor, and I stupidly set up some Calm Minds, even though Force Bomb is physical. But a few turns later we take out the Bronzor. In comes Steelix, who goes down to 2 Force Bombs, and lastly is Bastion, who is 4 times weak to fighting. And just as you would expect, he didn't live a step, 4 times effective Fist Plate boosted Force Bomb. We then make our way to the library where a bomb goes off. Okay then. We split the 3 lakes among us and I make my way to Lake Feather. Here we had to fight Commander Saturn, who opens with a Kadabra. He's no match for Stanford, who one-shots with Assurance. In comes Toxicroak, who also goes down to a 4 times effective Psychic. Lastly is Bronzor, who goes down to 4 Assurances. Easy peasy. From here we decide to ignore the evil teams and make our way to Snowpoint City. This is a pretty cool route. I really like the snowstorm aspect of it and it leads us to the peaceful Snowpoint City. While grinding up for the 7th gym badge, I finally evolved Columbia. Remember when I was talking about evolving him before the 2nd gym? Yeah, well, we're now more than halfway through the game, but he finally did evolve. On the surface you'd think that the Ice-type gym wouldn't be that much of an obstacle. And you're right, in Pokemon Pearl, Candace doesn't have a Frostlass, which will be an amazing threat. Instead, there's a Snover, Sneasel, Medicham and Abomasnow. And I can already hear what you're thinking, Harvard will be king here. I also have our usual backup Yale in the back as well, and if worse comes to worse, we always have Stanford as well. I'm not too confident in Princeton and Columbia, as Columbia is generally just weak and Princeton is just very frail. I can really only use him if he's the first one in battle. Switching in Princeton will pretty much always put us in the red or yellow. I opened the battle with Harvard and as expected, he disposed of the Snover quite easily. And in comes her ace, Abomasnow, who will also be one-shotted by Force Bomb. Thirdly, she sends out her own Medicham, and he turned out to be quite a nuisance. I swapped into Yale on the Detect in order to get off an Hypnosis. The first one missed, but luckily the second one hit. If the second one had missed, we would be in big trouble. After putting it to sleep, I swap back to Harvard and proceed to spam Confusion. Luck was on my side, as the Medicham stayed asleep for a long while, but also got confused. When he woke up, he immediately hit himself, knocking himself out and preventing Candace from using a potion. Lastly, the Sneasel was another one-shot from Force Bomb. And with that, we have our 7th badge. Still no deaths, I'm kind of impressed, seeing how ill-prepared I was for this run. Anyway, on to more plot stuff. Dawn needed help at Lake Acuity, where we had to fight Commander Mars. She leads with Golbat, but he's no match for Yale. Extrasensory easily one-shots it and in comes Bronzor. He's kind of tanky, so it took a while before he went down, but after a bunch of confused raids and paybacks, he too went down. Lastly was Pericles, who went out to 2 extrasensories. Yale really is the carry of this team. After realizing I really needed to do everything on my own in this game, I make my way to the Northern Lake, where we see our rival get hopelessly destroyed. what serves you well. We then take on the Team Galactic HQ and we battle Cyrus here. We open with Yale and he leads Murkrow. I confuse the Murkrow and swap into Stanford. Stanford then proceeds to use Stomp, two-shotting the Murkrow. In comes Golbat, who falls prey to 2 Psychics, and lastly is Sneasel. I switch into Harvard and 1 Force Palm takes it out. After that we had to take on Commander Saturn again, who leads with a Kadabra. Yale's payback one-shotted it again and in comes Bronzor. He was a little frustrating and we had to switch a few times, but Stanford eventually took it out. A Psychic from Stanford also took care of the Toxicroak, and after the battle we released the Lake Trio. We then ended up the biggest mountain in Pokemon history, Mount Coronet. This place is huge, but after some time we make our way to the top. Here awaits a pretty difficult battle. First we have to take on 2 commanders along with our rival, and immediately afterwards we take on Cyrus. Our team is healed in between, but we can switch around the order. We start the battle against Commander Mars and Jupiter. I lead with Yale and our rival sends out Munchlax. We face 2 Bronzors. I then swapped right into Harvard, as we actually want him as our lead. I started using Force Palm and it took out the Bronzor. In comes Golbat and we used another Force Palm on the other Bronzor. The second Bronzor needed a second Force Palm and after we took it out, Purugly came in. We just barely managed to live in Aerial Ace and we one-shot Purugly. In comes another Golbat, so I swap into Yale. With Yale I go for Rock Slide, which hits both Golbats. Both go down, leaving only a Scun tank. I Rock Slide a few times, but his flamethrowers get me in the red. I swap into Stanford and the next turn the burn damage takes it out. Okay, that's the first one. On to Cyrus, who leads with Honchkrow. This is why Yale was in the lead. Honchkrow could easily be a run killer with its dark typing, but with Yale's Rock Slide we have a chance. Rock Slide is an easy 3-hit kill thanks to 1 potion and in comes Weavile. Weavile also catches a Rock Slide which crits, one-shotting it. Crobat also falls prey to Rock Slide and lastly is Gyarados. He also goes down to Rock Slides, although it took a few more. I then had to take on Palkia. Damn, okay. I put Stanford in the front and plan on just running away. And that failed, we can't run away. Damn, and he even hits a Dragon Claw. 1 more Dragon Claw and Stanford goes down. Is this really going to be our downfall? I realized that the only sensible thing to do here is to just run away again, and it pays off. Phew, that was really scary. We then make our way to Sunnyshore City, where we meet an old friend, Jasmine, the Steel type gym leader who we easily beaten in the last video. But I don't plan on staying here for long. I immediately challenge the gym leader for a final batch. Faulkner opens with Raichu and I use a few Force Palms with Harvard. He does paralyze me, and because I need a Fist Plate for extra damage, I don't have the berry to cure it. Eventually the Raichu went down, leaving us in nearly full HP. In comes Luxray, who is looking really scary, but on the first Force Palm we actually paralyzed it. Awesome. We then use a lot more Force Palms as we keep getting paralyzed, until it finally hits, taking out the Luxray. It leaves us at 14 HP though. In comes the Electric type Ambipom and I bring in Yale. I go for the Hypnosis and confuse him thereafter. 2 more extrasensories take it out. Lastly is another pure Electric type Octillery, who is also put to sleep. 2 extrasensories paired with Rock Slide take it out, winning us the badge. With the 8th gym badge in our pocket, Jasmine rewards us with the HM for Waterfall, and with that we can make our way to the Elite Four. Victory Road was pretty easy, and although I was a bit underleveled, I lost nobody. We eventually arrived at the Pokemon League and I noticed that I needed to do a lot of grinding. All of my guys are around level 51 and the level cap is 63. This is going to take a long time. After grinding everyone up to level 63, I wanted to challenge the league, but I got jumped by my rival. Man, am I happy that I didn't edge these guys, or the run would be over. He opens with a Staraptor and we had Stanford in the lead. This could have turned out worse. A Crunch and Psychic combo takes it out and in comes Heracross. He also goes down to his Psychic and the same goes for Roserade. He's just feeding them to Stanford. Snorlax also catches a Psychic, but it doesn't do that much damage. He uses Rest though, giving us a free switch into Harvard. A Force Palm is a clean one-shot on the Snorlax and 2 more Force Palms take care of the Rapidash. Lastly is the Empoleon and he also goes down to 1 Force Palm. And no one overleveled, so that's awesome. Now for the actual Elite Four. We open against Aaron and his Duckstocks by sending out Stanford. Stanford easily one-shots it with Psychic and in comes the Beautifly, so I swap into Yale. Yale uses Rock Slide to take care of it. The incoming Heracross catches 2 extrasensories and Vespiquen also goes down to a Rock Slide. Lastly is Drapion, who we don't do that much damage against, so I put it to sleep and swap into Harvard. He doesn't quite manage to kill it as Aaron heals up the Drapion, but a few more Force Bombs won us the battle. We are 10 levels higher though, as the Sinnoh Elite Four has big level differences, so this one wasn't too difficult despite him being a bug Elite Four, super effective against Psychic. Second is Bertha, who opens with a Quagsire. I open with Yale and put it to sleep. I then swap to Princeton and set up a Reflect. I then use Psychic, which crits, taking out the Quagsire. In comes Sudowoodo and I still no Hidden Power or Water. Sadly, it doesn't do much damage, so we swap over to Psychic, which takes care of the Rock Tree. In comes Hippowdon and I once again go for a weak HP Water. Earthquake then nearly kills Princeton, who is saved by Reflect. I switch into Yale and put the Hippowdon to sleep. I then spam extra sensories, but eventually Bertha uses a full restore. I put it back to sleep and proceed to spam even more extra sensories. After taking it out, the Whiscash comes in, who I also put to sleep. We do miss 3 in a row, but the 4th one finally connects. We then spam some more extra sensories and we kill it. Lastly is a Golem, and I guess you know where this is going. Hypnosis puts it to sleep, but this time we swap to Harvard. A Force Ball makes easy work of him. Next up is Flint, who is actually quite scary. He opens with Rapidash and I send out Stanford. We actually have the perfect start, as I got a crit Psychic and we one-shot it. In comes Drifblim and I use Crunch. Another Crunch takes it out, but Aftermath does good damage to us. When Infernape came in, I debated on swapping out, but ultimately I stayed in. I use Psychic, which manages to two-shot it, but we're now in the red. Lopunny comes in, so I switch to Yale. Of course we put it to sleep and I switch to Harvard. Force Bomb OHKOs it, and lastly is Steelix. 2 more Force Bombs take it out. Lastly is Lucian, who is imitating me by only using Psychic Pokemon. Let's see who's the actual best Psychic trainer here. He opens with Mr. Mime, taunting the fact that we couldn't get one in this game, and I send out our classic lead, Yale. But instead of putting it to sleep, I actually use Feint Attack. Another Feint Attack takes care of the Mime. In comes Medicham, and now we do put it to sleep. I switch into Princeton and a crit Psychic takes care of the Medicham. Girafarig comes in, so I swap to my own Girafarig. He uses double hit and I use Crunch for massive damage. 2 more crunches and Lucian Zebra goes down. In comes Alakazam and he might be a bit of a problem. Most of my guys are running low on health, so we don't have an ideal switch in. I ultimately go with Yale, who easily tanks a Psychic. A Focus Blast does massive damage though, but luckily our Hypnosis hits. 2 Feint Attacks take it out easily, and lastly is his own Bronzong. With Bronzong asleep, I go into Harvard to use Force Bomb. A few turns later and we defeated all Elite Four members. Now it's time for the champion, but I'm not that optimistic here. She opens with Spiritomb, which is probably the best Pokemon to take on a pure Psychic team. And she also has a tanky Milotic and of course her Garchomp. Anyway, here is how it went. Cynthia opens with Spiritomb, and of course we lead Yale. You already know what's going to happen here, Hypnosis. Only we can't miss this time, as PP goes down twice as fast against Spiritomb. Luckily we hit the first one and we then proceed to spam Feint Attacks. Our first and second Feint Attack both crit, but that means he's now healed up. We hit another Feint Attack and go for another Hypnosis. Again, Hypnosis hit, but we're now running really low on Feint Attack PP, so I switch over to Rock Slides. After dealing a lot of hits, we finally took it down. The first major hurdle is now down. Cynthia sends in Roserade, so I use Extra Sensory, which is a clean 2-shot. We were hit by a critical Energy Ball though, leaving us at half. In comes Gastrodon, who also catches an Extra Sensory, but it doesn't do that much. So once again, we are going to put it to sleep. We missed 2 times in a row though, and now Yale is running really low on health. I bring in Columbia, who sees his first action in the Elite Four, and he immediately opens up with a crit, taking the Gastrodon into the red. He's healed to full though, and Extra Sensory won't OHKO here. We take it to half, fully expecting to go down, but Gastrodon throws and uses Stone Edge, leaving us at about a quarter. Another Extra Sensory just misses out on a kill, and the incoming Stone Edge kills us. Rest in peace Columbia, you will be missed. I bring in Princeton and a Psychic takes care of the Gastrodon. Cynthia now brings in Lucario and I can't do much else other than using Psychic. It does just over half and Lucario's Earthquake takes us in the red. Another Psychic does take it out though, and in comes a run killing Garchomp. Realizing I needed a clean switch, I press Psychic, but Garchomp outspeeds and he kills our starter. Goodbye Princeton. I use my clean switch to bring in Yale, hoping to dear lord we can put the Garchomp to sleep. Garchomp uses Giga Impact for whatever reason, leaving Yale at a sliver. and he hits his Hypnosis. With Garchomp asleep, I just go for extra sensories. After 3 though, Garchomp wakes up and Giga Impact takes out our legend heal. What a beast he was, unforgettable. I bring in Stanford as he's our fastest Pokemon and his Psychic takes it into the red. Jesus, Garchomp is now healed to full. This might have just become impossible. I go for a few more Psychics and luckily we get a clutch Dragon Rush miss. Next turn though, Brick Break takes down Stanford, leaving only Harvard on our team. Garchomp uses Earthquake, nearly killing us, but the Confusions took out the Garchomp. But it's not over yet, there's still a Melodic. I use Recover as Melodic hits a crit Ice Beam, taking us again into the red. We then recover again, as my Melodic hits a hard Surf. We need to go for another recover, and my Melodic now uses Aqua Ring. Finally an opportunity. I get off a Force Palm and my Melodic goes for Mirror Coat. But since Force Palm is physical, it does nothing. I then hit a freaking critical hit Force Palm, taking out the Melodic and winning us the run. My god, what a final battle. Unreal. Now I realized that the last battle was extremely lucky, but sometimes you just need luck on your side. Overall, I think we had a great run, losing no one until the final champion battle. I really enjoyed this run. This was my first time using a Chameko, and although he didn't see much action against the major boss battles, he was great for all the random trainers. And can we just have a moment of silence for our hero Yale? Yale single-handedly carried the team. Harvard was close behind, but Yale was without a doubt the best Pokemon of this run. Stanford was also really fun to use as I don't use Terrific that often, and Kadabras are always fun to play with. Overall, this was a very enjoyable run, with a very hectic finale. But that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope to see you in the next one.